India, a country known for its rich culture, history, and diverse landscapes, has also gained a reputation for being a hotbed of tourist scams. From fake tour guides to overpriced souvenirs, unsuspecting travelers often find themselves falling victim to these scams. One of the most common scams in India is the fake tour guide scheme. Tourists are approached by individuals claiming to be official guides who offer to show them around popular attractions. However, these guides often take visitors to shops and restaurants, where they receive a commission for bringing in customers. As a result, tourists end up paying inflated prices for goods and services they didn't even want. Another prevalent scam in India is the overcharging of foreigners. Whether it's for transportation, accommodation, or food, tourists are often quoted prices that are significantly higher than what locals pay. This exploitation of visitors' unfamiliarity with local customs and currency can leave them feeling frustrated and taken advantage of. Additionally, some tourists fall victim to scams involving counterfeit goods. From fake designer clothing to imitation jewelry, unsuspecting travelers are lured into purchasing items that turn out to be of poor quality or completely fake. This not only results in financial loss but also tarnishes the reputation of India's legitimate artisans and craftsmen. The prevalence of tourist scams in India can be attributed to a variety of factors, including poverty, lack of regulation, and the sheer number of visitors to the country. While the majority of Indians are honest and welcoming people, the actions of a few unscrupulous individuals can leave a lasting negative impression on tourists. In order to protect themselves from falling victim to scams, travelers are advised to do their research, be wary of overly friendly strangers, and trust their instincts. By staying informed and vigilant, tourists can enjoy all that India has to offer without becoming another statistic in the world of tourist scams.
Venezuela, a country known for its stunning landscapes, rich culture, and warm people, has unfortunately gained a reputation for being a hotspot for tourist scams. The reasons behind this phenomenon are complex and multifaceted. One of the main factors contributing to the prevalence of tourist scams in Venezuela is the country's economic instability. With hyperinflation and a volatile currency, many locals are struggling to make ends meet. This has led some individuals to turn to scamming tourists as a way to make a quick buck. Additionally, the lack of effective law enforcement and regulation in Venezuela has created an environment where scammers can operate with impunity. Without consequences for their actions, these individuals are emboldened to continue preying on unsuspecting tourists. Another reason for the high number of tourist scams in Venezuela is the country's popularity as a travel destination. With its beautiful beaches, lush rainforests, and vibrant cities, Venezuela attracts millions of tourists each year. This influx of visitors provides scammers with a large pool of potential targets to exploit. Furthermore, the political instability in Venezuela has created a sense of lawlessness in some areas, making it easier for scammers to operate without fear of repercussions. The lack of a strong government presence in certain regions has allowed criminal organizations to thrive, further contributing to the prevalence of tourist scams. In conclusion, the high number of tourist scams in Venezuela can be attributed to a combination of economic instability, lack of regulation, popularity as a travel destination, and political turmoil. While the country has much to offer in terms of natural beauty and cultural experiences, visitors should exercise caution and be vigilant to avoid falling victim to scams. China, a country rich in history, culture, and natural beauty, has become a popular destination for tourists from all over the world. However, with the influx of visitors, there has also been a rise in tourist scams. From fake tour guides to overpriced souvenirs, it seems that everywhere you turn, there is someone trying to take advantage of unsuspecting travelers. One of the most common scams in China is the tea house scam. Tourists are approached by friendly locals who invite them to a traditional tea ceremony. However, once inside the tea house, the prices are exorbitant and the tourists are pressured into buying overpriced tea sets. Another popular scam is the fake art scam, where tourists are sold counterfeit paintings or calligraphy at inflated prices. In addition to these scams, there are also fake tour guides who promise to show tourists the best sights in China, only to take them to overpriced shops where they receive a commission for every purchase made. These so-called guides often pressure tourists into buying unnecessary items or services, leaving them feeling cheated and frustrated. So why are there so many tourist scams in China? Some believe it is due to the rapid growth of the tourism industry in the country, which has led to a lack of regulation and oversight. Others point to the cultural differences between China and Western countries, which can make it easier for scammers to take advantage of unsuspecting tourists. Whatever the reason, it is important for travelers to be vigilant and do their research before visiting China. By being aware of common scams and taking precautions, tourists can enjoy all that China has to offer without falling victim to unscrupulous individuals looking to make a quick buck. Tourist scams in Pakistan are unfortunately a common occurrence. The reasons behind this phenomenon are complex and multifaceted. One of the main reasons is the economic disparity between tourists and locals. Many tourists come from wealthier countries and are seen as easy targets for scams by locals who are struggling to make ends meet. Another reason is the lack of regulation and enforcement of laws in certain tourist areas. This creates an environment where scammers can operate with impunity, knowing that they are unlikely to face any consequences for their actions. Additionally, the lack of awareness among tourists about common scams in Pakistan makes them more vulnerable to falling victim to these schemes. Cultural differences also play a role in the prevalence of tourist scams in Pakistan. Tourists may not be familiar with the customs and traditions of the country, making it easier for scammers to take advantage of their ignorance. Additionally, the language barrier can make it difficult for tourists to communicate effectively with locals, further increasing their vulnerability to scams. The rise of technology has also contributed to the increase in tourist scams in Pakistan. Adapted to using social media and online platforms to target tourists, making it easier for them to reach a larger audience and carry out their schemes. Overall, the prevalence of tourist scams in Pakistan can be attributed to a combination of economic, regulatory, cultural, and technological factors. In order to combat this issue, it is important for both tourists and locals to be aware of common scams and take steps to protect themselves. Additionally, the government and law enforcement agencies must work together to crack down on scammers and enforce stricter regulations in tourist areas. Romania, a country known for its stunning landscapes, rich history, and vibrant culture, has unfortunately gained a reputation for being a hotspot for tourist scams. From overpriced taxi rides to fake beggars and pickpocketing schemes, visitors to Romania often find themselves falling victim to various scams. One of the reasons behind the prevalence of tourist scams in Romania is the country's struggling economy. With high unemployment rates and low wages, many locals turn to scamming tourists as a way to make a quick buck. The influx of tourists during the peak travel season provides ample opportunities for scammers to target unsuspecting visitors. Another factor contributing to the abundance of tourist scams in Romania is the lack of regulation and enforcement. Many scammers operate with impunity, knowing that they are unlikely to face any consequences for their actions. This lack of accountability only serves to embolden scammers and perpetuate the cycle of exploitation. Additionally, the language barrier can also make tourists more vulnerable to scams. Many visitors to Romania do not speak the local language, making it easier for scammers to deceive them. Without the ability to communicate effectively, tourists may find themselves in situations where they are taken advantage of without even realizing it. Despite the prevalence of tourist scams in Romania, it is important to remember that not all locals are out to deceive visitors. The majority of Romanians are warm, welcoming, and honest people who take pride in sharing their country with others. By staying vigilant, doing research, and being aware of common scams, tourists can minimize their risk of falling victim to exploitation while exploring all that Romania has to offer. Philippines, a country known for its stunning beaches, vibrant culture, and warm hospitality, has unfortunately gained a reputation for being a hotspot for tourist scams. From overpriced souvenirs to fake tour operators, unsuspecting travelers often find themselves falling victim to these schemes. One of the main reasons behind the prevalence of tourist scams in the Philippines is the poverty that plagues many parts of the country. Desperate locals, struggling to make ends meet, see tourists as easy targets for making a quick buck. They may use tactics such as overcharging for goods and services, or even resort to more elaborate schemes to deceive unsuspecting visitors. Another factor that contributes to the high rate of tourist scams in the Philippines is the lack of regulation and enforcement. With limited resources and manpower, authorities often struggle to crack down on scam artists, allowing them to continue their illegal activities with impunity. This lack of oversight creates a breeding ground for dishonest individuals to take advantage of tourists. Furthermore, the sheer number of tourists that visit the Philippines each year also plays a role in the prevalence of scams. With millions of visitors flocking to popular destinations such as Boracay and Palawan, scam artists have a large pool of potential victims to target. The sheer volume of tourists makes it easier for scammers to blend in and operate under the radar. While the majority of locals in the Philippines are honest and welcoming, it is important for travelers to remain vigilant and exercise caution when dealing with unfamiliar individuals. By being aware of common scams and taking steps to protect themselves, tourists can minimize the risk of falling victim to fraudsters. Ultimately, with increased awareness and enforcement, the Philippines can work towards reducing the prevalence of tourist scams and ensuring a safer and more enjoyable experience for visitors.